You accept your abundance when you accept yourself, or your soul mission, or why you were born, or your life purpose, or whatever you might call it. That is when you will accept your abundance. And you might be looking at that now in your life and wondering what it is. Because when I'm speaking about abundance, it's not just about money or possessions or things of that physical nature. It's about you owning yourself. And so we're living at a period now where you owning yourself is the most powerful thing you can do because the world is transitioning. Nothing is happening in our lives or our world accidentally. It's just that we come to figure things out. We come to understand it at certain times. And Wilhelm gave us all of that information. And I can say that to you today because, see, I got up this morning and I saw that message. You can accept your abundance today. That was the message they gave us. I don't remember when it was because I received the information beforehand, and that's when I put it down. And I started doing that 36 years ago. But today it was really important because you're supposed to understand how important you are in this world, especially today. And that when you do that, you will start to have the abundance you're meant to have. You're going to experience it. But more than that, you're going to help change the world because that is why you were born as well. So I was trying to run from this. And I'm saying that because that's the only thing that we ever do is run from ourselves. We fear who we can become. And yes, we do fear our success because our success comes when we accept our authentic selves. And you know how difficult that is to become vulnerable and to expose who you are and to allow others to see you. And that's going on right now. But then we'll think that things are happening accidentally in our world or in our lives, and they are not. There's no world events, nothing in your life, nothing is happening accidentally. It's just that we become willing to accept it and understand it. And Wilhelm gave us all that information. But I've run from it. Like you might have run from yourself. Years ago, I used to use this phrase. I called myself the reluctant mystic. That's because I didn't understand what I was doing. I understood that I knew things, but I didn't know why. And so today, when I'm still running from who I could become and how I could help so many more, we all do that to a certain degree. I couldn't get away from it because I went to Facebook to make a post today and I saw, oh, there was a memory there. You know how the memories come up? And it was a channeling session, a Wilhelm channeling session that was held on December 7th of 2022. But they had me repost it again a year ago because, see, I didn't listen to it then and neither did you. That's what happens. We don't listen. We're always running. And this comes out in the session. It talks about how I don't listen and I won't go back because then I'd have to do something. That's like you. That's when we procrastinate, when we don't look at something, maybe we won't have to do it. But I'm telling you that I know that you were born to become wealthy, abundant, and have everything that you want. And Wilhelm gave us the way to achieve that and also gave us the way to change the world. You see, the title of that particular channeling session was called You Can Change Your Life and the World. And that's all of us because when you understand how important you are and the energetic contribution you can make, you will change the world. But I'm not going to explain it to you because I'm going to allow it to happen because I'm going to put that session here now. It was like 38 minutes that happened on that day. And I have no memory of it except everything was explained and it was meant to be known today. There's an energetic connection that Wilhelm has given me that I'm going to put some documents in so you can see. You were born at the right time. You have a divine plan, if you think about it that way. But I think of it in terms of scientific terms because when you understand energy and how you operate in the world, and find your alignment, you have everything you want. And that is the philosophy that they have given me. But I want you to enjoy this video today because on this day, the energy of this will help you so much to understand how important you are and how you can reach the next level of your life. And in doing so, you're helping our world become what it could be. Thank you so much for being here. Please view all of it, subscribe to the channel, and view all of the work that Willem has given us. It will change your life. See you soon. Welcome, everyone. We are just about ready to begin. And we are ready to begin. And we are so pleased you're here, and we've waited for you your entire lives, and you've shown up at the exact perfect time. We're saying that because we want you to understand that everything that has happened in your life has always been at the exact perfect time for you on your evolutionary journey. You may not have understood what has occurred over the last several years, but we're going to explain all of that today. We're going to give you everything. And we've taken Roger through so much over the last several days, as we always do before he's going to do a session, because we want to make it worthwhile for all of you. We know that you've seen your world moving through all of these changes, and you've been somewhat upset about them. And this is why we gave you the message in 2012. Now, that's still something that many of you have difficulty understanding or accepting with this time thing, your linear time. Your time is now. That's always, your time is in this moment. But we use these dates to show you that you have always been on a path. You've always been on a journey, and your path is to come into the world and offer who you are. Offer your essence. Now, when you come into the world, you never know who you're going to become. You don't know the life experience you're going to have, and you don't know what the conditions of the world will be. But we will tell you, if you're here now, it's because you wanted to awaken more of the world. That's what's happening. You're moving through a planetary transition. We said that we gave you everything in 2012. Now, that was just a particular time where you again went through a change in your world. None of you also understood that how could we have planned the talk for this day on December 7th, which many of you may not even remember was a great day in the United States, because that's when Pearl Harbor happened in 1941, just before you went into your Second World War, and you're standing at the same place now. And so you're going to decide, what are we going to do? You're seeing all the energies across the world coming up, and people are wanting to know who they are, wanting to become free, breaking out of old paradigms. That is what you're doing. You're moving into a different dimension. We have given you all the information to help all of you move through this dimension, which we've called restructuring, but we've given you a path to your ascension, you see, because it's a process. You come and you understand, you have memories of why you're here and what you're meant to do, because each of you are meant to do something. You're meant to offer something of value. Your lives have been that important. The only challenge you have had is not being able to interpret them in a way that would cause you to understand your importance and then offer that to your world, and your world needs it now. You've seen what's going on. Now, we said that you're going to be angry. Now, you're going to question, how did we know that in 2012? We're not limited by your linear time. We know what you're doing, and we can tell you what you're going to be doing tomorrow unless you shift. And the shift is you deciding to own who you are. And it's a process. We've taken Roger through everything, his entire life, to bring him here today to give you this information so that you would be encouraged to ascend to who you're meant to be. And it is something that is valuable. There is no human that ever comes into the world that does not have worth and value. None. It's just some of you decide not to discover it. Some of you decide not to own it, or you push it away. Now, that is purposeful for Roger. He did that for many, many years because he needed to have, this was his life path, as we've explained before. He needed to move through all of his evolutionary stuff, his junk, just like each of you do. But he is a teacher, you see, and he could access this information. And he's held back, and he hides, as many of you have. You feel something within you that you know you're supposed to do, but then you doubt it. And so that mental process that you're moving through keeps you stuck, keeps you sitting in the same place. So what we did was we gave you a way of sequentially, methodically moving through your blockages. You only live in your mind. And those of you who are in our program that we gave you, you've noticed that everything we said, your physical life experience, you're in your body, your physical body on the physical plane for a period of time. But while you're here, you're working through something on your soul journey. That's what you're doing. And so they're going to be different for each of you. None of you are going to have the same path. But what happens many times is that you start comparing yourselves to others, and that's the difficulty that you start to enter. And this is, Rogers had the same experience where he compared himself to others, and he could not bring this work forward because of that. Feeling like you're an imposter or something. None of you are that. You've come in with memories that you're supposed to access and develop them and bring them into the world. On January 1st of 2012, we gave you a message on infinite intelligence because we wanted you to understand that each of you has all the knowledge that has ever existed in the world. It's ubiquitous. It's always here. It's everywhere. You have it, but you have to allow your consciousness to open it to receive it. That's all. And so we moved Roger through many of these things to give him these memories so he could cause more of you to understand and accept, because energetically, your world is in a place where it needs you. You can feel it. You see what's happening. And it's happening because more people have not decided to become loving. And the place that you become loving first is to yourself. You've had journeys that have caused you to have difficulties, challenges, and all of those. And some of you have thought that possibly there was something wrong with you or you're being punished in some way. No, you agreed to move through certain things in your life, in your experience this time, so that you could bring that knowledge, that wisdom, that experience into your world to help your world evolve. See, that's what you're all doing. But this is a different time. You've never experienced this. None of you have, because it's never existed. It's never happened. You're moving into a different age. It's not there quite yet, but we gave you something on August 20th of this year that would give you a little memory of what that might be, you see, because you're moving into a different dimension in your world. And many of you know it's called the age of Aquarius, or the fifth dimension. Now, that wasn't accidental that the group that you know of created that song so long ago, because they had a different vision. Someone did. You all have different visions, and you're out of time many times. You're ahead of yourself. We did this tonight on your Gemini full moon, you see, because we wanted to be ahead. It hasn't hit for Roger quite yet because we wanted to be ahead. Just like we have given you everything ahead of time so that you could maybe believe that you're here on a path, and you are. Every single soul has this value and worth to bring to the world when you decide to move through whatever challenges you've provided for yourself. Some of them have been generational, as we've told you. You're moving through a generational change. You are meant to let go of all the old stuff. And many people are holding on to it. We also told you that the United States would lead the way. This is why we wanted to do this. Nothing is accidental. Your planet has decided to do it on this date of December 7th so that you could possibly remember the division that you had in your world then, and then you created World War II, and you're making a choice now. Are you going to do the same thing? No, you have different factors happening now that you could change that. Nothing like that needs to occur if more of you decide to love yourselves, decide to let go of your self-judgment, decide to let go of your judgment of yourself so that you can do it for others. That is what is happening. Not all of you are going to do that. And you know that there are many in your world who will not do that. And that's why you have the conflict, you see. And so just today, though, some of you are going to be recognized for what you have been through, for what you have contributed to your humanity, to your civilization. And one was just happened today where you're with the president of Ukraine, which everyone has been focused on, and Sting, this man, how could he have this much power? Well, he was just made Person of the Year. You each have that ability. You only separate yourselves in your thinking. As you might have gathered, and many of you have questioned this, but never quite figured it out, because you read our words and you say, wow, seems like they're talking directly to me. Yes, we are, because we have access to realms that you only sometimes delve into. You sometimes allow yourselves to experience this other realm, this other dimension, where you could see that, wait a minute, the world is wonderful. We're wonderful. Everyone's wonderful. But you don't do that enough, you see. And so then you have to counteract how long you have been telling yourself that you're worthless, that you have nothing to offer the world. All of you do. It's just your interpretation, you see. And that interpretation happens in your mind. we led Roger back to reading, and we shared this with many of you, a new interpretation of the Kabbalion. Now, it's based on Hermetic principles, which many of you know, but that's ancient. And this is why Roger has ancient memory, and he doesn't have the religious views that many of you have, because his role was to bring through something, this information, which we've given him, to bring through this information to help your world evolve into a new earth, into a new world where you're much more loving, inclusive, and equal, and you're prosperous, you're abundant. You have people in certain countries who are starving to death, and you have others who have opulence that they don't know what to do with, so they just keep building more mansions. That's what you're seeing. Or they will try to take the money from those who don't have any. What kind of insanity is that? And you're doing it because you're not owning who you are, you see, because your energetic change in owning yourselves would cause all of that to go away. It would shift. Now, we don't expect you to do it tomorrow, but you will. And this is why we keep moving through this with all of our information. And again, using the synchronicity. And we've used those terms purposefully because you come into the world at different times and you develop information, you access knowledge and wisdom from those who have come before. And as we've said, we've used Carl Jung quite a bit, but we've used many. We had Roger today look at Lao Tzu. And if you look at that, there's been a debate in your world about was that a man or not? Well, we'll tell you, no, it wasn't, because it was a collection of energies. And then they kind of coalesced at a particular time to offer wisdom to all of you. We have given Roger a work exactly like that, but he couldn't accept that. None of you accept things initially because you don't know that they're within you. And then they come out as your world changes, you see. And so many of you are being motivated now because either from fear that you have not, that something terrible is going to happen to you or your world, or you're feeling that you're lost, you have nothing else to offer, and you're pissed off. That's why we gave you the anger. Your anger is going to be in different places. It's going to be at yourself, mainly because you know you could have done more. You know you could have actualized more of yourself. But the regret is not going to help you at this point. It's not going to serve you or the world. And that's why we're bringing it up. That's why we wanted you to see. Yes, you could have had the anger, but your job now is to decide to move through it. And the way that you move through it is decide to love yourself, to work through all those little things that you've gone through in your life that you think were terrible or hurtful or whatever, or you made a mistake or you screwed everything up. You never did. You're learning things. That's all that's happening. And you're using your memories to do that. What we mean is that you have memories, each of you, and they're very different. And your DNA is being activated at this time because the planet, your planet, is moving through a change, an evolutionary change, and that's why it's chaotic. None of you like change, and so you hold back because you have to go into the unknown, and this unknown is quite different for all of you. There are many in your world now who have been exhibiting an heightened amount of anxiety and fear, and because they don't feel that they're in their bodies. You are not. Your bodies are changing. They're becoming lighter. You're going to feel physical things going on for you. We've taken Roger through every physical ailment that any of you could have, and we gave him the information of how you could cure that. Just 2 weeks ago, we had him stand up on his feet, which he couldn't do for 25 years, and walk around because he decided to accept himself. This is the work that we have given him to pass to you, so you begin to accept yourself. Put this love and light into your life, into your world. That is why you're here. And everything we gave, we took you through an examination, let's say, where you could look at all the things that have occurred in your life and reinterpret them in a way to see that you were given gifts. You were given things that you wanted to move through, because if you did that, your life would become better, and so would your world. Not enough have done that. The other thing that is occurring now, and you're going to see more of it, and this is why we needed to up things a little bit, and we wanted Roger to up things with himself because he's been hiding out. He has the hermit stage that he's lived in, like many of you have, and that doesn't work any longer because your world needs more now, and it is up to each of you. No one has more power or ability than any one person. We've told you there is no hierarchy of souls. Your soul is connected to God, to the universe, to all that is. And all that is something that we gave Roger a long time ago. Didn't understand that, but now he does. See, that's where you're all going to. All that is. that infinite place where you're always going to exist. You're eternal spiritual beings, and you're multidimensional as well. This is why you can access different aspects of your existence, of your world, when you decide to do that. It doesn't happen all at once. It is a process, and it is a cognitive process change, because you have to use your human brain to access these things. Roger's never done that. And this is why it was more challenging for him, because many of you have recently have your internet and you can find things and listen to other folks. He didn't have that. He just listened to us. And that's what it was. And we're going to tell you this because many of you might have had, you're going to have some of these experiences. Some of you will have these experiences, and we want to give you the advice. When we first came through in 1988, it frightened him because he didn't understand what was happening. He didn't understand why this information, and it felt to him that we had taken control of his hand. Well, we actually did when we first started writing. He doesn't need that anymore because now he can receive us very quickly. You all can do that if you decide to train yourself, where you can get information, receive information from your guides that can advise you on how best to move through your difficulties, your challenges, and your lack of self-belief. That's the main one, because all of you have that. It doesn't matter where you are on your evolutionary journey, you don't know that next step. And so you have this lack of belief. And so then you feel less confident and fearful and all of that. But it's a process. It's a gentle process that we gave you every day to move through something. And then you build this cumulative empowerment that you can do anything. That's our goal, because we know that the more people who do that, your world would be quite different. Your weather would be different because you would do different things. You would use your money in a new way, that you would be inclusive of more. And as we said, that's changing. And it has nothing to do with you because the universe said it's going to keep going. Now, the difficulty you'll have is because you're moving. Everything is connected galactically, astrologically. All of it is connected because everything is energy. And the energies that are shifting now on your planet are going to go into a new way. And it's what many of you have called the age of Aquarius. Again, you thought it was a long time ago, but it's now, it's coming up. And we gave you something to tell you when that was beginning on August 20th of this year, but it's going to, well, it's going to go into your next year. So things are going to be a little, lively, let's say. Let's just call it lively. However, if you decide to work on you and just decide to love yourself and bring to the world the thing that you have, because you all have something. It is there, but you haven't grabbed it yet. That's all. And as you do that, it's a process. Don't judge yourself, which we said that you haven't done it, because it shows up at the right time in your life. Now, others might look at Roger and say, well, wow, he's 72 years old and he's just getting this. But now look at how good he looks, though. See, because that's what happens. You stop aging as you start to accept who you are and your physicalness. Your physical body is temporary, doesn't matter, but you may use certain things to get you to awaken to who you are on that spiritual level. You're here to develop your consciousness, your being in a spiritual way, because that's the only thing that lasts. That's the only thing that makes a difference in your world. But as you move through this particular change, as you're seeing, you're going to have a lot of conflict. You're going to have a lot of hatred. You're going to have a lot of anger, and you've seen it. You are here to counteract that. And the way that you do that is by deciding to love yourself and get on with doing what you came to do. That's all that it is. Now, because as we've said many times, we don't expect you to go into those places in different parts of the world and try to heal them. You don't have to. That's not what your job is, unless that is what you've decided to do. However, but the thing that you have is within you. And sometimes you access it, you believe it, but then you doubt it. Every human does this. It's just how long you're going to do it, how long you're going to hold yourself back, how long you're going to not enjoy your life. You were born to be happy, successful, prosperous, and in love with yourself. That's the life that you were meant to live, and this is the guidance that we've given you. Now, if you go and study, because Roger doesn't like, and this has been a challenge for many, many years, he doesn't like to use terms like the mystic or sage, but that is what it is. How could he have received this information all these years? But sometimes, you hide out, and that hermit stage is useful for a time. but it's a different time in your world. So he has to move out of that as well. Today, we had him go back and look at some of the messages that none of you have seen because he wouldn't publish them. He started in 1988 and he spent 19 years hiding. Some of you have done that, not accessing who you are, not accessing the gifts that you have. But Roger understands this. This is why he can see what's going on in you, because he's done that. But now his life, age has nothing to do with it. He has the best attitude now than he's ever had, because when he was younger, he was depressed. He had depression. He had all insecurity. He had all kinds of illnesses. He had all of that stuff. But we gave him the work to move through that. You each have that ability. You just have to decide that you're going to take the time and do it. And that's it. Many times you think that what you're going to uncover about yourself is going to be so terrible and horrible that you don't want to look. And we're telling you that what you have is something that is so valuable. You have genius within you. No one was born without it. The only decision that certain people make is if they will accept it, if they will do the human thing, which is to continually move into it until you change your brain to accept this expanded consciousness that is always available to every single person. And so now what you're going to deal with is the hatred. That's why we gave you the anger, because you're going to see people are not going to agree with you, and you're coming into the holidays. So we thought this is a perfect opportunity, because you typically will do loving things during your holiday. We want you to amp that up. Actually, love yourselves first. And that is deciding that you're worth it, deciding to work through whatever mental limitations you've been holding on to, and decide to take that next step into the glorious being that you came to be. And we're saying that to every person. And we can say those words because we know that not everyone would listen to us. You would listen to us because your part of your path was to hear us. Nothing happens in your life accidentally. You'll just decide when you're going to shift and then decide to believe us. We've given you pretty much everything over the last several years. In our writings, we've given you that, but where we saw where you were, we had Roger start doing these conversations, these live channeling sessions. We had him start doing that a couple of years ago because we knew where you were going, and he had so much information. We said, you can't keep writing, you have to talk because it's too much. And this was a time where we needed to up the ante, so to speak, because the energies of your world were such that you needed some balancing, as we've told you. And that balancing is coming in all forms. You've seen what's happening with your women, which we're so thrilled about because they're taking over, because this is what you've done over eons. You've made them second-class citizens. And now they're starting to understand, wait a minute, we're humans. We're all the same. Why should there be any differences? But now you've done that with your races too. You've done that with your countries and your races. You've done it over eons, but now you want to change that. That is why you decided to plan and have a fifth dimension. And that's why some of you will move into it and you'll have these glorious life experiences. Not all of you will do that. But we know that you will have an awareness of this now, and your actions might be different. Your actions might be more loving to others. You might be more loving to yourself. You might decide to let go of your judgment and your failures or your ideas about what you didn't do. None of that matters because it was purposeful. Every experience you have lived in your life gave you value. Every single one. You may have judged it in a particular way that you couldn't access it, but everything you have lived gave you value. There are no insignificant people ever born. And the path that you were given is one that would cause your world to evolve and become better. We love using that term because it's just a subjective kind of term, but you know what better feels like for you. And that's why you're here. But the bottom line is this. Your life is supposed to be happy. You're supposed to be loving. You're supposed to work through all your old stuff so that you can enjoy the fruits of your labor, so to speak. And that's the period that you're in. All of you. It's not possible for that to not have accumulated within you at this point. And we'll say that you've ended up in your world at this particular time to access that energy, because if you do, then your world starts to go into a much better place. And we're going to keep working with Roger because we have to keep pushing him, because like you, He holds back. He doesn't want to go out there. He doesn't want people to see him. It's been a constant for him, but now it's going to be different because he's not going to be able to go back. We've given you messages like this many times. We said you cannot go back to who you used to be and be happy. You cannot go back to who you used to be and be happy. So you've seen too much now. You've seen too much about who you are. You've seen too much about what is possible. You only have to decide to accept, to believe it. That's all. And as you do that, it becomes embodied within you, and then it manifests because you are manifesting beings. Whatever you put into your consciousness, into your thoughts, you're going to manifest if you stay with it. We gave you something, well, this is many, many years ago. We gave you focused attention, which many of you think of now as manifesting, and you use different techniques to get there, but we've given you only things to use your mind. And this is why we've used the Hermetic principles, or related to it, it's all part of it, but we've used the old things, the ancient wisdom, because that's what Roger's connected to. Now, we want you to understand, he didn't accept all of this or believe it, just like you haven't accepted things about yourself, and that's okay. We even sent him to an Akashic record, two of them, Akashic records reading, but we did one last year, December of 2021. And he heard from this person who did not know anything about him, heard exactly what we've told him about what we had given him and how it was supposed to help your world at this time. And they even gave him more of his confirmation of his ancient memory. And there are many people on your planet who have this, many people who understand it and are doing the same thing all over your planet. But you are here to do what you're supposed to do. That's it. And what we did was we gave you tools to keep working through your resistance, your blockages, to come to this wonderful acceptance of your brilliance, because it's in every single person. It's just, are you going to stay with it? Are you going to keep going? Are you going to stop? Are you going to keep telling yourself things that aren't true? And the things that aren't true are you're worthless, you have no value, you have no purpose. All of those, none of those are true. They're just things that you either picked up from your elders, people who raised you, your family, your countries, your associates, your friends. Sometimes you pick them up from all those people, and then you started to believe them. You are brilliant people. You're brilliant beings with so much value and worth. You just needed to understand what it was, and you needed the time to access it. But then you have to allow yourself to integrate, to assimilate what you've gained. And that's a process, it's a cognitive process. But we will say this, more of you will start to feel this in the next several weeks, because the energies are really intense, and there'll be more tomorrow. And because of this full moon, they're much acting out, let's say, but that's purposeful as well, because you can't change anything that you cannot see. We've told you that you were going to see things that were revealed, that were hidden from you, would start to become revealed. And that's happening now. You're seeing so much of it. So much of it happened in the United States just yesterday. We planned this talk a while ago. We didn't know on your level, but we knew on our level, this is what you would need. And that is something that you'll have to just kind of trust us with, because many people on your planet have the same abilities, precognitive ability as Roger, to receive information, but it's also uncomfortable for many of them who do that. But he's become comfortable now. And that's the change. And that is the change that should happen with all of you, is that you start deciding, because it's a decision. You see, it's a conscious decision that you make, and you have to do it continually, where you're going to decide, I'm going to believe myself. I'm going to believe that this thing that I've been feeling, because you felt it, I think I'm supposed to do this in my life. Yes, you are. Whatever it takes to get there, to develop the skill, or whatever it is that you need to accomplish, that is within you if you stay with it. Now, you could go into something and you find, well, I've been working at this forever and I just don't like it. That's perfect, because that's what you're supposed to experience. But you might be in certain places where you're working at something and it's not getting there, but you know you're supposed to do it. You are. It just may take some time before you find the skill, the way, the right manner of doing it, whatever it is. But it is. If it doesn't leave your consciousness, if it doesn't leave your thinking, you're meant to do it. It's just up to you to decide that you're going to change your mind about how limited you might have been, and decide to do it. And this is the work that we're going to do. So we're really excited about it now. because we finally kicked Roger into another gear that he can help more of you. This period is supposed to be so much lighter and much more fun and expansive. That's what it is. It's going into there. It's going to take you a little while, but that is what will occur. And the work that we gave you was a part of that. There are many people doing work such as ours, and they come in different forms. You just find what works for you, what resonates with your soul, because you'll always know when that shows up. But this particular time, why we wanted to do this is because there are many things that are going to be coming up that are going to be revealed that's going to give you pause, and it's going to cause you to have a lot of anger too. That's what it is. But when you understand that you have to see that, don't judge yourself for having, it's awakening something within you so that you can change. That's all. And we've written about that many times, and we called it good anger for many of you, because that's the thing that when you feel it, it motivates you to start to do something, and you're going to see it in your world. You can't look at all the killing and the war and people starving and all that and not feel something. And what you're feeling is an awareness. And that awareness is, wait a minute, I know I'm supposed to help. And the way that I help, and this is the part that many of you have not gotten, because you think sometimes you're being selfish and you're not. The way that you're supposed to help is by deciding to love yourself, to give yourself every comfort that this world could offer, to all the abundance, all the love, all of those things are within your reach if you decide to become who you're meant to be, and that is your authentic self. And that is the work we wanted to guide you to, because every person's authentic self is brilliant. It's only your judgments that get in the way, your judgments of yourself and your judgment of others. And you're moving through a period in your world where you're coming back to oneness, you see, because you start to understand that all the differences, all the ethnicities, races, all the things they're just different in appearance. It's a physical appearance. Your souls are all the same. And you will connect on different levels because of that. And that is this period that you're moving through now. As we've said, we've called it a restructuring, and that restructuring is occurring within you. And you are responsible for the conditions of your world. And we're going to say that because we're putting it on each of you, because you are that powerful. Now, you will decide at some point, well, I can't make that much of a difference. And then if you make that choice, then you won't make that much of a difference. And you've seen it in your leaders. Some of them decide, we're going to lead. We're going to be the ones that are going to be out there in front and helping other people. And then you have other leaders who are going to take advantage of everyone. And those are the choices that you're going to go through. That's the duality that exists in your world. But what you're meant to do is not have duality within yourself. That means to own who you are, to own your brilliance, your place in the world, to add light and love. That's what happens when you make those choices. And that's what you're going to begin to add to your world. We gave you several other things, and you'll see this soon, because many of you don't go back and hear our recordings. Roger doesn't go back and hear many of them. And because, again, it's like, how did that happen? But we would love for you to go back and hear many of them. We told you at one of the recordings that the president of the United States, the current president of the United States, was going to, when we first gave you that information, we said, okay, but he's going to be seen differently at a certain point. Now, we're not talking political here. We're talking energy. You see, the energy. And today they announce, oh, he's done something that no president has done in 90 years or something. Well, yeah, because it's a different time. There's so many things that are happening in your world that you've not seen. Many of them are repeating over every 100 years, which is why we wanted to give you also, you don't have to get to that place that you did with World War II if you decide to look at your December 7th today and make a new choice. That's really what it is. But today it was so fascinating to see that people are like amazed at this old guy who was kind of doing things, but it was not about his political ideas. It was about his energy. And we want you to really understand that it's about how much do you love? How much do you care about yourself? If you care about yourself, you're going to care about others. But if you have energies within you, and you all have different things that have come in that have had you, we won't go into all of this today, but you've seen it. There are others who are carrying energies from their ancestors, just as you are, who are quite different than yours. They're about oppression and different things, and those are evolutionary threads that certain people carry. Now, you've had all of these things. You've lived different. Again, we know many of you don't get this, but you've lived different experiences where you've been different parts. As we've said, those others, you have been those others as well. But your role now, because you're here, because you're listening to us, because you found this video, your role now is to open up to love and light. That would be the only reason that you would stumble upon this. And it's not about what you're doing out there, it's about what you're doing with you. That's the most important thing. And our work has always been about making you the most important thing in your life, because you are. And that is what we had for you today. And we want you to remember this over the next several days, especially because there will be a lot more energy. However, take advantage of what's coming up. There are holidays happening in all parts of the world in different ways, but it does bring in this idea of loving one another. So please do a lot more of that. And we do love all of you as well. Thank you. Okay. Hi, everyone. I am so glad you're here. I was alone today, so I didn't have a chance to do everything else, but we will send out this broadcast. We will have it done and put together for you so you can all have it. But thank you so much for showing up, for being here, and you will have the recording as well. Okay, thanks.